do things your way. I believe I am old enough, I can make my own decisions. And if this is what, let me learn from my mistakes. Let me just go make my mistakes. And now I will come back and be like, I will come and tap you at the back and tell you your idea could have worked because mine has failed. Unaelewa? Hi guys, how you doing? About your September. I hope that September has started on a good note. So today we are gonna be talking about red flags, a topic that I've been so much waiting to come and have this discussion with us on, red flags and some of the ways that you can be able to spot when things might go wrong. All right, and you take the necessary precautions into ensuring that you do not find yourself in a shitty situation. And so I'm sharing this from a point of having been there. All right. So I have been in a shitty, messy situation. And I think the mere fact that sometimes we ignore red flags would lead us to places that we do not want. So as much as we want our relationships to work and we want all the best, and sometimes we subscribe to the little best part and good part of a person, it's important for us to spot also some of the some of the toxic and some of the behaviors that would lead to the situation not staying longer. So, like, I know and I believe that in most cases, when you are the one who is in love or from amongst your friends, marafiki zako hata wakikuambia hausikiangi, unakwanga tu umeblock masikio, utaki kusikia, utaki kuambiwa, you don't want to hear, you don't want to listen. All right. So, but then it's totally understandable because you are in love, you love this person, you are happy, But what you might think is happiness might turn out to be a lifetime series of events that you do not want to. Okay. So I am talking from experience, from having gone through such an experience, from experiences that I've seen with my friends, with my colleagues, and so I might not exhaust all the red flags. I know there are million, there are so many. We cannot even hatuwezi exhaust, but I believe every other person has had their own experience, and if you have some signs and some behaviors that you think are red flags and I may not be able to discuss them here, then please just comment down below so that another person can come, read, and tuelimishane. Karibu sana, welcome so much to our channel today. Excuse me. Welcome so much to our today's episode. My name is Elizabeth and this is All for Single Parents. So what we do here is educate, motivate, encourage single parents. Whether you're a single mom, you're a single father, feel welcomed. And most of the time we end up being single because there are some of the things that we could have spotted a long time ago, but too bad. I am going to just from, as I mentioned, from my experience and from the things that I've been able to learn from my friends and from my colleagues, I am going to be having five, but weighty, five to kayapa. Let's stick around. So 5 red flags that you could spot in a man and take the necessary precautions. And look, when we're talking of red flags, we are talking of red flags into you could spot red flags to someone who is, you guys are not compatible. Right? So you're just not compatible. Unapatanga someone is good, but you are also good, but you're not good for each other, right? So the person is good for another person, and you are also good for another person. So, and you could also be able to spot red flags to a toxic person, someone who is just toxic and whose intentions are not clear. Kabisa, the intentions are not clear, they are not clean. Yeye ni mtu anataka kuja kuharibia maisha yako, because for some reason there are people who are just so good at that. They just want to come and mess your experience. Wanataka wakuje, anakuja, if you had your life well planned, anakuja na kuharibanisha, na anaenda kwanza, anakimbia murife, ana run, but immediately anaona life yako imeanza kukua back on track is when you see them creeping back, pole pole wanakama. All right, so let's talk of 5 red flags that you can spot in a man and be able to take the necessary precautions. And the first red flag that I am going to be talking about is if at some point you doubt whether this person really loves you. Okay, so sometimes if you're staying with someone, if someone is claiming to love you, you should not doubt whether he really does. it should just come automatically. You should be convinced enough. The moment that you start asking and questioning whether he really does, then of course it means that there's something that he's not doing right. And in most cases, if you communicate to the person and you see there's no change, then it means that the person is not indeed for you. Because in most cases unapata love language yangu ni tofauti na ya mtu mwingine, na vile yeye anadhani perhaps you treasure and you want him to do for you kitu anadhani anafaa kufanyia ama kitu anadhani una expect akufanyie, na it could be something different from what you indeed want. So after you spot and you notice that he's not giving you full attention, and like is you are really doubting, or like you would call him, he doesn't return your call, I don't see how he thinks that's okay. But just talk to him, tell him, like, if I contact you and I call you, it's something important that I need to discuss with you. So it's only nice for you to return my call, or just drop a message, tell me I'm in a meeting, I am busy right now, I cannot talk, like, but I am going to call you back later. But if it reaches a point whereby you start asking whether this is really for you, or like whether he really loves you, trust me, and then you talk to him and things don't change, no. All right, no, I mean, everyone has, and especially because in this time we're talking of spotting red flags before you get into a relationship. So I'm assuming during this time it is a time whereby anaplay zake, right, anajaribu kukukatia, he's trying to really like impress you. And if he's not really, if you're not convinced even at that particular stage, then trust me, it's not going to work. You'd rather tell him, and if things are not working out, if he's still not changing, take the necessary action. And you can always run away. You can not saying run away, but you can always cut it off. I mean, it's for your own good. You're looking at your future, you're looking at your entire life, and you're looking at your kids, the person who is going to be the other parent for your kid. And so if you feel like he's not the one, it's still okay. Imagine it got too sour. I mean, if it's not convincing you well enough, just go. Si vibaya, utakuwa umekosea mtu yoyote. You will have done yourself just the necessary thing. That is just the necessary thing to do. Okay. Now, another red flag that I believe at some point you have had, or like someone has told you, this is very common, is that if the person is a control freak, come on, control, like you guys have just met, and he wants to dictate the friends that you're hanging out with. He wants to dictate the time that you're supposed to be at home. He wants to like dictate everything about even your dress code, like the things that you're supposed to do, things that you're doing before, and things that you found fulfillment in. But now he comes and he starts, giving you directions on what to do. Or again, if the kind of a person who calls the shots, like if you guys are supposed to meet, he's always the one who wants to suggest when, where, and when. Okay, say when and where, right? Anataka tu yeye peke yake ndo anatoa hiyo plan, anatoa mpango, anatoa form. So you cannot even like be able to one day call him and say like, today we are supposed to meet, can we meet here? No, he wants you guys to meet at his own preference. So I think that makes him a control freak. And in most cases, what I say is that someone who is controlling is a very selfish person. He doesn't think about your happiness. He just thinks about his own happiness. Anataka tu kitu yenye anataka hiyo ndo ifanyike. If he wants his meals done at 6 p.m. now unapika hapo sijui saa ngapi, saa moja, now he becomes a problem. So I mean, it's just you're looking at having a peaceful life, because you're looking at eternity here. You're looking at until death does you to part. So, but if he's that kind of a person, it means that your life is going to be messy. And I don't think there's anyone who wants his life to be controlled. Sidhani kama kuna mtu mwenye anataka life yake ikwange this other person is the one who is controlling, who is making decisions. There's that point whereby you have got to make your own decisions. You want to invest your own way. I mean, or it's your money, you want to invest them in something, but this person doesn't want that. He wants you to invest in what he believes in. And in this case, it's not even like it's important for the two of you to sit down and weigh pros and cons. What am I sitting to gain, what am I losing, and according to what you think you should invest in, and the other person, like which one can work better. So kuna hiyo kunegotiate, kucompromise, kukaa chini na kuongea na kujua this is what we want. But in this case, I'm talking about a person who is literally controlling. He doesn't want to give you his thought process. Atake kupatia concept ya anataka tu wewe Ataki kukuelezea as in into details. He just wants you to do things his way, right? So the reason as to I'm looking at it from a point of it being a huge red flag is because now you will end up being caught up in, after you can't even go say hi to your friends. I have seen someone who's lived that kind of a life, and sad thing is that she was older, she was way older, so, and having lived such kind of a life for the last like 20 years, now it makes you, and when now you realize that that was not that is not the life that you wanted. Now you start getting, if you realize now you want your freedom, una realize when it's too late, and now it becomes a problem because ndo au utapata unasikanga, if you don't do it when you're young, you will do it when you're older. Anyway, I zip my mouth. What I'm saying is, if a man is so controlling, that should be a huge red flag. You should see it as a huge red flag and do the necessary. Talk to him. Talk to him. Tell him, no, I do not appreciate how you want me to do things your way. I believe I am old enough. I can make my own decisions. And if this is what, let me learn from my mistakes. Let me just go make my mistakes. And now I will come back and be like, I will come and tap you at the back and tell you your idea could have worked because mine has failed. Unaelewa? But yeah, so that is the second red flag that you can be able to identify in a man, and take the necessary precaution early enough. But the third huge red flag that you can spot in a man and be able to make a wise, informed decision, and this is, I'm telling you, this is not even something that you should play around. So, if this person leaves another woman for you, hmm? If this person literally dumps another person for you, so assuming that you have been friends with this person, like you guys have been friends, you have, have consulted with each other on different types of things, like the simplest of decisions, because you've been friends, okay? You have been friends. And so during this period, you notice that they are not okay with the person that he was currently or is currently dating. And so he's constantly talking of how things are not working out. He's constantly talking of how he thinks that this is not the person that he thought it was. And and at some point he comes and tells I have bonded with you, we have been friends, we have helped each other in times of need. How about you, I get you, how about you take this to another level? And he's like, okay, I can just dump her there because nothing is working out there. All right, so he decides to dump that other person for you. And because uko hapo unasikia you are the good one, unasikia you are the smart one, you'd be like, oh, it's fine. Otherwise, I have known you longer than you've known her. Okay, so it's important for you to notice that there is karma, and it is usually there. But the same things that he has done to another person are 100% sure that they are going to come back to you. So do not agree to getting into a relationship with someone who has dumped another person, and because you're thinking that you're the pretty one, you're the good one, you're smart one, you are, I don't know how to say it, but as long as he has done the same thing to another person, it is 100% guaranteed that it's going to do the same thing to you. Ni 100% guaranteed. Imagine hakunanga any other way. I mean, there is, or another example is if you are dating someone and he's constantly talking evil of the other person, of the ex. Okay, so he's constantly talking evil of the ex, and someone vile alimkula do vile, so just talking, or how she was lazy, how she didn't do stuff, things, things like that. I mean, kuna vile watu huongeleleana tu vibaya, and there are things that you'd say, huyu ameongea vibaya because alidampiwa. All right, but if he's talking ill of another person, then he's going to do the same about you, because hamna tofauti. Siku yenye mtakuja kuachana, the constant thing here is that mmeachana. So siku yenye mtakuja kuachana, atakuja tu bado akuongelele vibaya. So, but what I'm saying is, do not agree to getting into someone's life, and this would be after they have done another person. And hakuna relationship when you end up poor after you think that it's thriving on someone's tears. If someone is crying, if someone is unhappy, if someone is going through sleepless nights because of you, trust me, that it's not a relationship that could be blessed. Now, and if you are, sometimes if you are a man and watching this, sometimes you'd spot again red flags in the woman, and because as from the previous video that I did, there's some toxic behaviors that people would have and they do not know that they are doing, and they do not know that indeed they are being toxic. All right. So if you spot toxicity in someone, it's only prudent for you to talk to them. Just tell them that, I have noticed this and this about you, and it is making me unhappy. It's making me uncomfortable. I'm feeling like I'm making a wrong decision having you around. Right. Talk to them, and if they do not change, then it's still okay. It's still okay for you to go ahead and tell them, okay, so this is not working, and it is not working because of A, B, C, D. All right. Just talk to them and give them the reasons and make them understand that indeed they were the wrong one, so that they do not also make the same mistakes in the next relationship. So no. Yeah, so if you're a man watching this, if you spot negativity, or if you spot some traits in a woman that you do not appreciate and that you do not subscribe with, just tell them. Wambia to, it won't do any harm. Tell them, I have noticed this about you. I do not like it. I have spoken to you about it for a long period of time. Ninakan kama hutaki kubadilisha. So in this case, I am taking the necessary action, which is to set you free and set myself free from this. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go to the second last point that you should spot in a man, and this is if a man is disrespectful. So, have you gone to take meals with someone? Menda kukula mahali, and so where you're taking your meals, or like if it's a restaurant, if it's a hotel, is so rude, is very disrespectful with the people around, be it the waiters, the waitress, the cleaners, the language that he's using when he is addressing them, then it really matters. God, if he's being disrespectful to those people, then it means that it does not have regard to humanity. Okay, na hata anaweza pia wewe anaweza kukubodisha mbele ya watu, anaweza akakuongelesha vibaya mbele ya watu, and it's just, those are the things that of course you would be able to spot early, because disrespect it starts if he's disrespecting other people. Again, as I mentioned, it is during this period that he's supposed to impress you, and so he's trying to be the best version of himself around you, and around when you are around, especially because he wants you to believe that he's a good person. So, but if he's talking like this to other people, especially his juniors, no guapo, at some point, honestly, that's someone who do not have regard to humanity. Trust me. He doesn't have any regard to humanity, na atakuja pia wewe akudharau, itakuja pia wewe adharau watu wenye, itakuwa hata it could even go to extent of disrespecting your parents, your sisters, your brothers, and it becomes a relationship that you're not proud of. Like huwezi enda na yeye hata kwa marusi za mabesti wako, you cannot go with him at family events because he has disrespected people around there. So yeah, let me be quick, and let's look at the last point. And the last point here is that if this person is not willing to commit, okay? So if this person is not willing to commit, then that is a huge red flag. Have you dated someone who, oopsie, have you dated someone who you have stayed long enough, miaka na mikaka, niseme miaka nenda miaka rudi, watu wa vitendawili, kwani misemo zilienda wapi? Watu wa miaka nenda miaka rudi, mkakaa, you have heard, you've gone through it all, hata mkashikwa mkiwa campus, juu mkafanya nini, mkatoka. So let me tell you a story. I had a colleague of mine who was dating someone. All right, so they were dating. They stayed since wakiwa kampo, wakamaliza shule, they started working. The one had their own businesses, the other was employed. So they worked, and this person, the man, was not willing to commit totally, completely. And as a woman, if it reaches a point whereby you are the one going to ask a man, who are we, or what are we, or tuko wapi, what is happening, are there any plans, then of course that means that you need now to start thinking twice, because ukianza kushinda kuuliza maswali, it means that mwanaume hataki kucommit na akupatia assurance ako tu. Okay, ako tu. So it's important for you to be able to spot if someone is not willing to commit. I was telling you the story of the friend. So they dated a long period of time, like I think for like 10 years. No, it was not 10 years, around 7 years. 7 years, all right? 7 years of dating, 7 years of ups and downs, 7 years of knowing my sister, 7 years of knowing my friends. So, like, they knew their mutual friends and everything. So, this particular time when it happened that they had a small disagreement, of course, they were on and off, they would have disagreements. This time they had their own disagreement. They had their own disagreement. Trust me. 1 month down, one, at least you come 1 month, Elisha, 1 month. Dude was married, he had gotten a person, and they moved on. Okay, so this simply means that sometimes it's a matter of the man just leaving some window open. Ataki kucommit, anataka akue na ka window, anataka yani akue anaweza fornicate, bila kusikia guilty, na wakati wenye atapata mtu mwenye anataka commit kwake, he will do it like this. Immediately he will do it. And you will have wasted your own several years. Sa hiyo your colleagues, your classmates, watu wenye mkonga nao shule, they have already been married, they have kids, they have moved on with their lives. But no, look, someone has wasted your time. That's a red flag. If someone doesn't want to commit, it's already a red flag. Or like another example is someone who you'd request them not to, kuna some of us who believe in no sex before marriage. Okay, it's actually a good thing, and maybe this is a topic that we could discuss at some point here, whether you should engage into sex before you are married. Of course, you should not, right? You should not. I mean, if someone is not your husband, if they have not committed, don't. That's the right thing to do. That's not what we do, but that's the right thing to do. All right. So if someone is insisting on on him getting your deflaring, getting your nini before he commits, then and you okay. Look, if you are okay with it, it's fine. But if you're not okay with it, and you tell him, but he's still insisting, okay, he's still insisting on it before you guys get married, then it means that he does not value what you believe in, hataki kuvalue kitu yenye unataka. And so I usually say that sex should not buy marriage. All right, so just because you guys have done your things, that does not mean that you should automatically be married, or like you should automatically be a thing. No, I mean, if you've given yourself before you agree, you are in agree vizuri kabisa, like this is what we want and we are going to do it this and this way. I mean, and you do it, that doesn't mean that after you find yourself there with a man, the next morning unamuuliza, so what are we? Ati, what are you? Did he force you? He did not. Ladies are gonna kill me for this, but what I mean is I think I've deviated from my point. My point was, if someone does not believe in what you believe, or actually, let me include point number 6 of red flags. Point number 6, if this person makes you feel bad about not subscribing to his bad behavior. So, assuming that you're dating someone who smokes, or someone who drinks alcohol, or someone who which other behaviors do we know? Overspends, and you're not subscribing to that. I mean, he is asking you if he's smoking in front of you and he answers you and you refuse, and anaanza kukuchongoa, it starts making you feel bad, or it starts making you feel like you are how am I gonna say it, we ni mshamba. Unaambia we ni mshamba because umekata kusmoke na yeye, umekata kwenda kunywa pombe na yeye, umekata, you're not subscribing to some of the behaviors that you do not believe in. So kuna vile bado unapenda mtu, but you're like, it's fine, if he smokes, he's going to stop at some point, lakini bado unaona huyu aachi. Yeah, actually. So but basically kitu yenye nasema ni, kama mtu anafanya usikie vibaya because I would subscribe to tabia zake mbaya, then there is a problem, there is a big problem. Run away, Murife, just run. Okay. So those were red flags that you could identify in a man. And as I was going through them, we were trying to address ways in which you can be able to handle each. So, but like mostly it's about communication, how you communicate. Just tell them, talk to them, tell them that you do not believe in some of the things that they are telling you to do, or some of the things that you can support in them. But now the big question here is, are there always red flags? All right. So is it necessary or is it a must for there to be red flags? And sadly, it's quite unfortunate to say that no, because kuna some people change, people change with time. So ulikuwa umekaa na mtu and what you thought you saw in them, or like you could have seen good part of them and then they come to change eventually, you wanna change too. So the question there is whether there are no sometimes, or and I would say 80% of the time the red flags are so visible. Okay, they are so visible. You could see them, and if you cannot see them, your friends can see them, and they will always come to tell you. As much as utakuja hapo ukatoa useme oh, hawakutaki and stuff like that, there are always red flags. And another person, if you cannot spot them, another person can spot them. But as I've said, it's 80%. Most of the time, there are. But sometimes you would not be able to spot them. If you're not keen, if you're not careful, you might not be able to spot them. Zitakupita tu. Zinaweza kuwa ni kakitu tu atasema na yeye pengine ajitambue, he would realize and tone down and stuff like that. So it's not always that you'd be able to spot red flags. Sometimes if things go haywire, do not sit down and be like, beat yourself thinking, how could you not have seen? It's okay, it's still okay for you not to have seen. Okay, because we are all human and everyone is busy. You are working, is working, and you do not have as much as you should, but you might not have the time to see and to learn and to be able to pinpoint some of the red flags. But if you do not ignore them. Just talk to the person before it is too late. Sawa sawa. Okay, so thank you so much for sticking around up to this particular point, and I'm hoping to make more content for us. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, tafadhali just click that subscription button. It is going to go a long way in helping another person who is blinded by love spot red flags, si ndio? So that mtu asijikute kwa mashida. Alright, so just subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video. It is going to go a long way. Sawa sawa. Thank you so much for your time and for sticking around up to this point. See you next time. Thank you.